Well, here we are, another walkie-talkie. Back on the usual route today, doing that part from my childhood yesterday. That was it was nice to go there, do that, but we're back onto the normal routine. It's that, I don't know what is that. There's a squirrel up there. I think that's what's making the weird noise. Anyway, yeah, back on the normal routine. It's that weird time of the year, isn't it, between Christmas and New Year? It's like people are sort of still a little bit in the Christmas mode because you've got the New Year coming up. But you still got the yeah, it's a squirrel. That one there's making the same noise. Must be communicating with one another, plotting their plan of attack probably. Yeah, that kind of weird limbo. People are not quite out of Christmas mode, but they're getting into the New Year mode, and that means that they're going to be, say it's a weird limbo. I'm not a big fan of New Year myself, never have been. It's always been annoying to me. There we go. It's sort of that weird time of the year. So, what am I going to talk about today? Not much, but what I've got planned going forward in the new year on these talks is my plan is to talk more about individual games that I've either played or I'm playing. I'll still talk about topical things that come up in gaming as and when, but I'm also mindful of the fact that it can be difficult. On my channel, New Year, I'm going to get the Doom 2016 playthrough because that's going to be its 10th anniversary. That's why I've held off starting the playthrough. Well, I have actually started the playthrough. I've recorded some footage, but I have not uploaded that footage yet because, believe it or not, it's going to be 10 years next year. So I thought I'd hold off and then start that in the new year, get the playthrough of that and the rest of the Doom stuff done, going into the new year. Oh no, so yeah, going in after New Year, I mean, but going into next year. So I'll do that. And yeah, hopefully that'll take care of that. I got been playing, well, I'll talk about that in the park, I think. what I've been playing. Yeah, been playing quite a bit and enjoying what I've been playing. So, yeah, we'll catch up with all that in the park. All right, so I'll see you then. All right, here we are in the old park. So, what are we doing? All right, good. Just checking the battery level of a microphone. I've got 60%, so we should be okay. Be all right with that. So, what have I been playing? Well, a couple of Christmases ago, I got the Avatar Frontiers of Pandora game, and because I spent pretty much most of the last couple of years in and out of hospital, I never actually got around to playing it. So I've been playing that, and it's good. I'm enjoying it. Now, what I will say with the game, it's pretty slow to start with. It's a lovely looking game. Graphics are really nice. I'm playing it on the PS5. But it takes a while to get going. A lot of the early part of the game, I suppose you could say it's world building. It's establishing what's going on, who you are, and all of that. All of the stuff to do with your tribe and the Na'vi and stuff like this. And yeah, I've been enjoying it, to be honest. It's I'd say it's a relatively typical Ubisoft open world game. There's stuff to do in it, a lot of exploration, a lot of missions, leveling up and stuff like that. But yeah, it's pretty good. I'm enjoying it. So my time has been split between that, Stardew Valley, and Final Fantasy VII, which I got this year. So I've been enjoying them all. Now in the new year, I'm going to talk about Stardew as one of the games. I want to talk about that in the new year. So I won't delve too much into that. And the same with Final Fantasy VII. The remake Intergrade edition on the PS5. I mean, that again, another lovely looking game. Really nice. Yeah, just touch bit of, I'd say I've already mentioned the sort of enhanced new combat. I'm really enjoying with it. So we've got that. So yeah, we'll go into more detail with them. But that's chiefly what I've been playing over the Christmas period. What I'll probably be playing going forward for a bit. You know, while we wait for 2026 to kick off on the game front and see what that's going to offer. Hopefully, better stuff than 2025, which, let's be honest, was very anticlimactic. for the most part. There's been some good games come out, but for the most part, it's not been great, has it? Let's be honest. You know, it's the biggest headlines, like I've said, sort of looking back, were layoffs and price increases for old tech. When I say old tech, you know, I mean, you know, like the Xbox and the hilarious huge hike in the price for Game Pass. It's absolutely ridiculous. I don't think it's been a vintage year for Microsoft, really. I don't think it's been great at all. But, you know, as companies bring it on themselves, as I've always said. The path to prosperity, when you're already on it, is an easy path to stay on, but an even easier path to wander from. And, well, it may not have affected Microsoft's prosperity just yet, but if you break things down by division, it's going to be hard to see how the Xbox division continues to be a prosperous, thriving thing. It's very much taking a hammering, but we'll see. Stranger things happen. As we all know, people are weird. People convince themselves that paying more for less is a good thing. Because human beings have the inherent idiot chip that comes free with every model. There you go. So, yeah, let's hoping that 2026 is better. Certainly from the games front. I mean, we do have we do have Grand Theft Auto 6 hopefully coming next year, and let's hope that, mind you, asking it to live up to expectations might be completely unreasonable, but let's hope it doesn't disappoint, because we need good games. We need great games. Not always from the AAA space. You know, there are plenty of great games if you're willing to go into, you know, the dark recesses of the indie game sections on your consoles or PC. There's always good stuff in there, and which is why, like, it is an easy habit to fall into and say, oh, it's been rubbish for games, or there's nothing coming out. I mean, I fall into the trap myself. I should always prefix that and say AAA games, because that's really the case. From indie game perspective, there's been plenty, and like I say, next year I'm going to try and shine a light on some of those, because, I mean, let's face it, in AAA games you don't really need somebody telling you about them, because they're everywhere. But it is needed. We do need AAA games to be successful, because that's what gets eyes on the product. It's the same with films. You need good summer blockbuster movies, although they're not strictly speaking in the summer now. They're all year round. But you need them. You need that success. That's important because it's what draws people in. It's what puts eyes on the product, and when you get fans coming in, that's when they start looking around and looking for stuff, other things to buy. So it's all about putting eyes on the product. Once you've got that, you draw in. Yeah, like back in the day, you know, it was big. The big game releases, you know, like Ghostbusters. That, back in the day on the Commodore 64, that was a AAA game published by Activision. You know, it was a major movie tie-in. It was a licensed game. It would be what you would call a AAA game. And that was what was one of the games that made me want a Commodore 64. And then there were other games. Raid Over Moscow, Beachhead, you know, from US Gold. I think the developer was actually, I don't know if it was for both, but Access Software. Like I say, I don't know whether that was I can't remember now. I think it was it the Carver brothers did Beachhead and Beachhead 2? Were they brothers? I don't know. I'm going off memory of it being on the screen, but I don't know whether that was Access Software. I don't know. I'm not going for accuracy. It's not a Wikipedia channel, this. It's a memory channel. So whatever that would have been, I don't know. But yeah. But again, they would have been the big games back in the day. That's for certain. So, you know, but there was other games. Smaller games. It's very difficult actually back then to sort of differentiate indie games because a lot of games were made by small teams and individuals anyway. But I suppose you had your big labels, your big publishers back then, such as they were US Gold, Ocean, Gremlin. Would you have put Codemasters back then in that bracket? I mean, at what point was it just the two brothers? When did it become like the bigger company that it became? I don't know. I'm not sure about that one. But certainly they would have started out that way. Llamasoft. You know. Is it Jeff Minter and is it Giles the Goat? Is it just two people? Or was it just Jeff initially? I don't know. Like I say, it's not a Wikipedia channel. It's just stuff I remember. Or not remember, as the case may be. So yeah, you have that. But what I'm saying is the big games drew me in. They drew me in, and then I found a lot of the smaller stuff, smaller publishers, self-published. Found a lot of that stuff on the, you know, by virtue of, okay, I've played this big glitzy AAA game to death. What else is there? What else have we got? And you draw yourself in that way, and you start looking around. When you go into various stores, there was, I mean, I've probably mentioned it before, there was a petrol station over here. You guys in America would call it a gas station. That actually sold Commodore 64 games. You know? And there was quite a few games that I'd never heard of. I played on there. They were all good. Well, not all of them good, obviously, but what I mean is it was all good finding these things, having a lot of fun. You know, one of the things, it's different these days because obviously games are a lot more expensive. But back then, you know, when you could buy games for, like the cheaper games, you could buy for pocket money. It was great, you know, just that discovery, taking a risk. Oh, what's this game? Looks interesting. I don't really know anything about it. But you know, it's like £1.99. And it's like, oh, I'll use my paper round money this week to buy it. And you get it. And that was it. It was like a voyage of discovery. And a lot of the times you'd strike out, it wouldn't be very good. But you would always unearth those gems. Really good games that you previously you would never ever have entertained looking at. I mean, certainly in today's market, you know, it's buying games blindly isn't really a thing, is it? You got the internet, you've always got videos on hand, articles ready to go, people streaming the game. You have a lot more information with regards to what the game is, you know, how much game is and what people think of it, what it's about. A lot of respect. We've lost something, I think, with all of that. The excitement factor. We know too much. We know too much about these games. So you're not really discovering as much as you used to. I mean, a lot of games that you could get back in the 80s, magazines didn't review. They only had a limited number of space to compose a review. So they know they wouldn't be doing much in that department. That is something I do miss. I suppose, you know, I could go in blindly, but it's not a couple of quid anymore for the most part. You know, people might say, well, 10 quid today is a couple of quid from back then. But that's not really how I look at it. I don't look at it that way. A tenner is still a tenner, you know. It still has there's a value to it. You know, just like it, you know, it did back then. I mean, it used to take me, when I just had my paper round when I was like 13, I used to get just under £2 a week. So yeah, so I would deliver like, I think it was 210 weekly papers, and I'd get just under £2 for doing it back in the 80s. So if I wanted a full price game, which was £10, it would actually equate to be saving up just over a month. But I used to like supplement it with a bit of pocket money for doing like chores around the house. And then when I was old enough, I was able to get a job one night a week, stacking shelves in a local grocery store, and that would pay me £5 and 10p for 4 hours work from 6 p.m. till 10 p.m. I used to stack shelves and mop the floor. Yeah. So that was great then, because how old would I have been? About 14. It was good fitness, carrying like crates of beer up and down these old stone cellar steps. You had to be careful. And you had to bring in all of this stock, take it downstairs, stack it all up. That was your first job. And then you then had to go out onto the shop floor, and you had to see what was needed stacking on the shelves. So then you had to go back down, pick up the stock, bring it back up the stairs that you needed. And by God, it was on a Monday night. So nobody had ever done it. Nobody over the weekend when it was open on a Saturday. I think it started to open on a Sunday. I think they'd relaxed the Sunday time opening laws for a few hours on a Sunday at that point, I think. I'm not sure, I'll have to remember. But I didn't work on a Sunday, I just did the Monday night. So nobody, I guess from the Friday to the Monday night when I went in, had put any stock on the shelves. Well, my first task, take everything downstairs. So the boss there used to come in, I guess from the wholesalers. He'd come in his van, unload all his stuff, leave it out back. And he was like, come on, hurry up. Really was. He was like trying to get as much out of you as possible. Complete violation, by the way, of any would-be health and safety that we had back then. It was a total violation of it, because I was carrying far more than what any 14-year-old should be allowed to carry. You had to dash about the place as well. It was hard work, but it got me the money. It got me money that I needed. Got plenty of exercise. I was quite physically fit back then. There's a little funny aside. I actually I was used to do taekwondo back then as well. My cousin taught it, and I used to do that on a Friday night. And my last night that I worked in the shop, the previous Friday doing taekwondo, I did my back in. I was doing a kick, overstretched, because the person holding the pad pulled the pad away, which you're not supposed to do. As I was doing the kick, and I overstretched and pulled a muscle at the base of my back. I was really hurt. I just remember this ice cold sensation at the bottom of my back, and I got up on Saturday morning and I couldn't walk properly. So I was literally in agony, just sat down in class. at school on the Monday, and I just phoned up that Monday night, so I can't come in. Could barely walk. The thought of carrying heavy stuff up and down these stone cellar steps, it's just not happening. And then I went back, still wasn't right. It was months before it started to get better, this thing. I turned up for work the following Monday, and I couldn't work properly, and got let go. Even though I was in agony. I just remember the boss saying, you haven't done much tonight. And they're like, I'm in agony with me back. He said, well, I don't know anything about that. I said, well, that's why I wasn't here last week. I shouldn't be here now, really. I'm still in a lot of pain, and I'm doing the best I can. Anyway, he wouldn't have it. So it was one of those situations where I think I got fired and quit at the same time, as I thought, I don't need this. And I'd done it for a while, that job. So, but that's how it was back then. And you just thought, like, right, fine. Okay. My back got itself sorted, and I got a job working weekends in another shop in the village, and I got paid a hell of a lot more. And I had that job for quite a few years, part-time. I was actually still doing that job when I started full-time work. At one point I was working 7 days a week. So how are we doing time-wise? A bit longer. So anyway, yeah, that was what I did in order to be able to afford to buy games. I just did it. No one was going to buy it for me. I get, if I ever wanted games off my parents or whatever, it would be for my birthday or Christmas. They just wouldn't go out and buy them me for no reason. Or I had to work around the house to earn money, or, I was doing my paper round. I'm working part-time. Working one night in that shop, and then working on a Saturday and Sunday in the shop in the village. So that's how it was. And you saved up, you bought stuff. So I think that's probably why, I have that ingrained thing these days as well about buying games, because, I don't jump in. I try not to jump in, because, I had to put some effort in to getting them. And so, historically speaking, when I did go and take a gamble, it was always on the cheap games, the budget games. And that was why it was kind of a bit of a rush with it, because you're thinking, if this is crap, I've just wasted quite a bit of money. So yeah, but I enjoyed it, and the whole thing was very satisfying. It was very good, and enjoyed doing the whole thing. Had a lot of fun going out buying games back then. You'd go out. There was if I ever stayed over at my friend's, he lived quite a ways away from me. Both went to the same school, but he lived quite a few towns over. And there was an actually dedicated video game shop near where he lived. I didn't have one around here. It was always like Boots or WH Smith. So you'd always be able to get hold of something quite good. They had quite a good stock of games, and I used to enjoy like perusing in there. And interesting thing for me was the fact that initially he had the Spectrum, ZX Spectrum, so I couldn't go and test them until I got back home. So as I get back home, is this going to be any good? And it's funny, eventually he did get a Commodore 64, so we were able to try the games out then. And I say I was quite lucky for the most part. I did pick up a few really good games, but there were also, you always get the odd turkey now and then. But I mean, that could even go for the big sort of AAA games as well. You'd always get that with them. You know, always go out there and be like, oh, I thought this was supposed to be good, and it just is a game you couldn't get on with. Not necessarily that it's a bad game. It's just one you don't get on with particularly well. So you always had that. Yeah. All right. So, yeah. We had a lot of fun. Back then. And I say you lose a little bit of that these days because there's so much information about games readily available for you. Be it videos and articles, playthroughs, you name it, all of these. So it's a little bit more difficult to buy blind. It's a little bit more difficult than it used to be. Starting to get busy in here. We'll do one more round and then call it. So, got here battery wise. Yeah, it's getting busier, so I think got to go and get myself some stuff for food later as well. We've exhausted our supply of turkey. Not that I had any since Friday. I like it, but I'm not having too much of it. Yeah, that was a bit of a story, yes. Bit of a trip down memory lane on, even as I say, once I was old enough to be able to get a paper round or get a little part-time job in a shop, that was it. It was like, right, save up and get your own stuff. I'd say I didn't mind that. That was just the way that it was. You gain an appreciation of stuff a lot more. That's for certain. You know, when you've had to do some pretty hard work, you know, I mean, for a kid it was hard work. That was for certain. Yeah. I always used to think what was interesting in that store was that guy never, like the adults that were working in there, he treated completely differently. He's like you were a kid, so, as I say, I was about like I was like 14, maybe 15. It's around that age. Yeah, you were just the skivvy. You hadn't earned enough respect to be spoken to. You know, you were spoken down, not spoken at. So, you know, it was, no, I'm not complaining. You know, it enabled me to get the stuff that I wanted to get. How was it? Not knocking it. Like I say, when it went a bit south there, after my back healed up a bit. By the way, I was still doing my paper round as well. I just give it a few months and got a job somewhere else once my back had sort of got a bit better. Right. I see I think I mentioned it before in the other video, the last Ninja collections come out now, but I know it's got the International Karate and IK plus with it, but £25, bit steep for me at the moment. I want to get them, but these other stuff, newer titles, from newer indie devs for stuff that I haven't played before that's cheaper than that. I want to support that, because all I'd be doing there is just a nostalgic trip down games that I played, that I played to death when I was a kid. That's all that will be. I'm also concerned on how well they'll play on a modern controller. There's certain sections that required pixel perfect jumping and a good joystick in order to do that back in the day. Particularly in the last Ninja, there's this highly trained ninja who dies when he touches water. There's a section where you jump over these pebbles, or jump onto these little pebbles or rocks to cross this stream, and if you don't do it right, you drop into the stream and lose all your energy and die, because that's how highly trained assassins functioned back in the day. Water was equal to insta-death. I was like that in a lot of games, actually, even in more recent times as well. So, yeah. But yeah, there's other stuff I want to get first. We'll wait on that one. But anyway, that'll do for today. So it's getting busier in here. So I'll call it there. Got other stuff to do. Get that done, get home, get this edited, uploaded, and hopefully see you tomorrow. And yeah, you all have a good day. I'll catch you later.